Hi everybody, thank you for joining us today. I'm Maddie, the founder of Flexpo, the events where we connect talented job seekers with truly flexible working opportunities. I'm joined today by one of our sponsors, Surrey County Council, and in particular from Surrey County Council, I've got Tom Holmwood, who is the Recruitment and Resourcing Manager. So thank you very much for joining us today, Tom.
You're welcome, no worries.
I just wanted to have a chat about what it's like to work for Surrey, what opportunities there are in Surrey, and give people a bit of a flavour of kind of a day in the life of.
Okay.
I'll start at the beginning. So obviously, flexible working, you're a great organisation when it comes to flexible working and being truly inclusive. Why is that so important to you as an organisation?
Good question. Why is it important? I think at Surrey County Council, we recognise the importance of a good work-life balance, and I think it can be said that most companies will want to promote themselves as offering candidates a good work-life balance. But at Surrey, it's something that we sort of hold really dear, and we recognise as an organisation that one of our unique selling points is the fact that we can offer candidates flexible working. And that really helps drive sort of health and well-being for our individuals. An old manager once said to me that working at a council, you're not necessarily going to earn the big bucks that you could do if you were going to shoot into London. But what you do get in return is the opportunity to have a much stronger work-life balance. And what we tend to see is where we have that in place, we often get candidates who are much more committed, who are much more engaged with what we're trying to achieve, and also just generally more happy and positive because they can find a balance between doing the work that needs to be done, but equally through managing their own personal lives, whatever that may be. That may be caring for relatives, that may be with children, it could be any one of a number of things. So I think it's important, flexible working is important to us because it allows us an opportunity to support people to have a healthy work-life balance. And that in turn can lead to positive impacts with regards to mental health and can generally just make people feel a bit happier.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. You mentioned something then as well that I'd like to pick up on about working for Surrey and kind of the reasons why people work for you, because ultimately you're really connected to the community. So tell me a bit about that in terms of working for Surrey. What's it like, I suppose, because you have a mission, don't you? You know, everybody's there to make a difference to other people's day-to-day lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if I tell you a bit, before I joined Surrey County Council 10 years ago, I was working in the agency world in recruitment, and it was evident to me after a few years that the only motivation there was money. You know, that's all. It's all it was about. It was about money. It was about how are you going to make more money? How are you going to, deliver us more cost savings, etc. Whereas at Surrey, although of course money is important, it's not the be all and end all, because actually our mission is to support our residents have a healthy and happy life, and that may be through a number of different things. So our mission, if you like, is slightly different, and it's slightly aligned. It's more aligned in terms of what outputs are we delivering as an organisation? How is that making improvements for the residents of Surrey? So it's much more motivated by that than it is obviously by the finance side of things. So I think that in itself is probably one of the big drivers.
Yeah, no, that sounds, yeah, I completely get that. So, I mean, we've kind of touched on this a bit, but one of my questions was going to be what makes Surrey such a great place to work? So obviously for a lot of our job seekers, flexible working really is the crux, but equally, yeah, it's about continuing your career, because often a lot of flexible workers then hit a glass ceiling and they're not then able to move up because the perception is that they're part-time and you can't do certain roles part-time, which for the record, we totally don't agree with. But just talking about kind of, why Surrey so great to work for?
Yeah, well, I mean, apart from obviously those reasons I've just given you around the ability to have a much stronger work-life balance, and also, again, on top of that, the fact that it's all about delivering good services for or brilliant services for our residents and helping support them. I think as an actual employee inside the organisation, there's much more of a focus on things like development and doing a good job, and actually continuous improvement and things like that. So although it's not an organisation that kind of is looking to make money through efficiencies and things like that, we're always looking to do things better, more efficiently, deliver better services to our residents. So I would say that again in itself is one of the key reasons why it's so great to work here, is because actually when you sit down with your managers, it's not just about how you're going to make more money, it's more about, well, how can we do things better, how can we deliver a better service, how can we do more value add? So having that kind of drive behind you for employees is fantastic, because what it means is we've created, or we are creating, a culture where we want everyone in the organisation, irrespective of where you are, what your position title is, who you are as an individual, everyone has the ability to feed into that, if you like.
Yeah.
So it feels like, it feels like a much more even playing field for everyone with regards to opportunities for you to put forward suggestions on how things work better, but also as well, tied onto that, the organisation recognises the importance of developing people. So not only is there a wealth of training opportunities, apprenticeships, but also the opportunity to do sort of development work that maybe will take you outside your comfort zone. So you're not just pigeonholed into one area. I can give you a good example of that. In the recruitment team where I work, we've got about 25 people. More than half of those people in the last 18 months have done apprenticeships of some form of description, or come through the ranks in terms of being apprentices in the organisation and moved up. Now, obviously, apprenticeships tend to be geared up more towards younger people, even though we don't just look at age. But at the same time, what there is the ability for people to do apprenticeships who are older as well. And we've got people in the team and across the organisation who have done all sorts to help their own self-development. So it's not, again, like walking into an organisation, what you're doing on day one is what you'll always be doing. There is always that kind of culture of sort of development and being pushed by your managers to move forward in your career. So that's that we look past, if you like, how you work. It's more about you as an individual and what you need to do a good job.
That's really interesting, because I didn't know you did that. So from the apprenticeship side, just because I don't know enough about apprenticeships really, do you think people that are already existing in your team, but then they think, actually, I'd like to explore marketing, or I'd like to look at another aspect of the business?
Yeah, obviously we need to look at things sensibly. You know, if you're working in an area and you're asking to do something completely different which has no bearing on your role, then another option might be, what we have at the organisation is the ability to do shadow. So it's not uncommon for people who might have just an interest in other areas of the business to actually, if they're doing a good job, to find time and space to link in with other managers and then go and do some shadowing to start with, to see if it's obviously something that's of interest to them. So obviously, it'd be wrong for me to sit here and promise that everyone can do apprenticeships, wherever they want.
Yeah, no, of course.
But what I can say is that because the organisation works in partnership with every other part of the business, you build very strong relationships, and it is very easy for people to move around and go and see and experience different things. Obviously, you need to be performing in the role you're in, which goes without saying. But actually, there's still the opportunity, and we have people come to our team to sort of shadow us and just see what we do. Sometimes that's because they've got real active interest in that area. Sometimes it's nothing more than pure curiosity. So again, I suppose it's kind of like, if you've got initiative and you ask and you put forward what you'd like to do and why, then you'll always find managers are very understanding and willing to listen and help.
Do you know what? That's music to my ears, because so often in an organisation, you're kind of nervous to put your head above the parapet for fear of your current manager thinking that you don't want to be part of that team anymore, or you're not committed to that. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
This is a hard question for you, but can you talk to us about the types of roles that you're recruiting for and the types of skill sets that you're looking for? I know you're a big recruiter, so there's an awful lot. But equally, I think when you kind of say county council, people might have a perception of one type of role, whereas actually there's a plethora of roles that you recruit for.
Yeah, we don't all sit round in our corduroys drinking tea and going through documents. No, I mean, the variety of roles at the council is staggering, and truly staggering. If I could do my time again in my career, I probably wouldn't have gone to university. I would have gone straight into an apprenticeship in the council.
Really?
Absolutely. And the reason,
that's powerful.
Well, it's true, because the reason is because at the council there's such a variety of roles, and it's unusual to be in an organisation where it's so easy to look across and look at different parts of what an organisation does.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of roles, I mean, good grief, we are normally always advertising at Surrey between 100 to 150 roles at any one time, and the roles start from entry level roles, which may suit people who are fresh out of education or not sure what they want to do with their careers, such as apprenticeships. But so you have those entry level roles, but then at the same time it goes all the way up. I mean, in the last 18 months, we've recruited a new chief exec, and she has brought in new managers senior level, and we've literally done everything in terms of seniority from chief exec all the way down. And there is always normally a good spread of roles at different levels that we advertise. In terms of the actual sort of areas of work, again, this is what I love about the council, is the variety. I mean, I'm trying to think of examples from actually today. I mean, already today I've had a conversation about a warehouse manager. I've had a conversation about some catering roles that we needed to fill. And I've also spoken to someone about a director post, which is a more senior post, which is coming up. So the variety of roles is there, and it covers everything from social care to human resources to legal to I mentioned catering, cleaning. There is a huge range, and I mean that's just great. I'm just scratching the surface there. Learning and development, IT, property development, really all sorts. So so that's one of the reasons why I love working here is due to the variety of things that we see.
Yeah, and that's why we love you as a sponsor, because actually we have such different skill sets coming on board. So it's great that one sponsor can offer such a wealth of different roles. And for people to see your roles, where's the best place to go? Is it your website?
Yeah, so simply, I mean, if you go to the Surrey County Council website, you'll see that there's a link on the first page to our jobs. The easiest thing to do, if like me, you like to take the easy route, if you are interested in roles, then certainly it's worthwhile going there and signing up for email alerts, because what you can do is you can be as broad or as specific as you like. And literally what will happen is once you put in your criteria, every single day, if you want, any roles that match your search criteria will be emailed direct to you. So it's the easiest way to get jobs that match what you want sent directly to you. And that's one of the things, given the volume and the variety of roles that we have, it's the easiest way to do it other than checking in every week or every day.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you very much. And seeing as we're talking in a lockdown world currently, you and I had a conversation the other day, and you were talking about the initiatives that you've gone even further with your flexible working support to be able to support your existing workforces. Yeah, I'd love for you to tell us a bit about them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our chief exec, Joanna Killian, came in probably the best part of 2 years ago now. And she made it very clear from the very beginning that she wanted the organisation to move more towards an agile state. And when we say agile, what we mean is people doing the job they need to do, but doing it where or how they want to a degree, of course. And she wanted to get away from this idea that we all had to be centralised in a building all the time, etc., etc. So the COVID situation, we were already kind of on a path towards more agile working, which was maybe people working from different offices, working from home, working from coffee shops, going and seeing customers, maybe working from other partnership buildings. But we were already, if you like, on that journey to do it. We had the equipment, we had the IT set up to be able to do that. And I think the organisation was starting to turn around in terms of focusing more on that, or using that, if you like, as an opportunity to attract people, but also, as I mentioned earlier on, to give people a better work-life balance. But actually, what COVID did was COVID brought about I suppose, if you like, a rapid push towards, I suppose, getting more towards where Joanna wanted to be in terms of the organisation. So I think what's happened is we were moving sort of at a half pace, and what's happened in the last few months is that we've had to peg it, in terms of and sort it out so that we can do it. Because obviously at the moment we've moved completely towards, if you like, agile working or working from home or working flexibly, with the exception of some roles. So what we've done, I mean, I can only speak for myself and my team. But what we had to do is we had to very quickly make sure that we had the right communication channels set up from the very beginning for the team. So that obviously what we didn't lose straight away was that ability to connect with each other, which obviously, of course, is quite difficult at the moment. But once we got that in place and we all had those communication methods, what then happened, I was quite, I suppose, it was a bit of an eye-opener for me, because although I was aware of some people in the team having children, having commitments outside of work, it's only when you start talking to people day to day and you see them in their own, in their own home environment, that you really truly understand what they have to deal with in their personal lives. So what we started to realise was actually, especially with people having sort of dependents that they had to go and support, so be that do shopping, getting medicine, they would have had to do normally. children obviously were at home where maybe they wouldn't have been normally. What we had to do is we had to take it a step further in terms of what agile working and flexible working looked like. So a few examples of that, we've got some people now who work in the evenings or work early mornings. So instead of saying, you know, before lockdown, flexible working in our team was, do you want to start at 8 or do you want to start at 10? Now what we're saying is, well, actually, if you do your hours, I don't really care when you do them during the day. If you do a good job and you're keeping in touch with us, whether you do a couple of hours in the morning, log off and sort your children out during the day, and then log back on the evening, doesn't bother me. So let's be more outcome focused than necessarily how people think. That's one example, I suppose, of where we've actually gone, you know what, it can work. It's okay. I mean, in some situations, to be quite honest with you, we've just had to say to people, you need to go and do what you need to do in your personal life if they've got serious commitments. Now, again, I can't say that would be able to be done for everyone, but certainly we've had a few honest conversations with people where we've had to say, do you know what, don't worry about today. You know, your kid needs you, or you know, a dependent needs you for whatever. You know what, go and do it. And what I'm seeing as a manager is that when you sort of show people that trust, that flexibility, that they repay you in so many ways. And I've been blown away by some of the, not only the commitment of the team, but people's willingness to sort of give back, if you like. So, I mean, that has been a huge eye-opener for me. And I think that moving forward, you know, what this will do is this whole experience will actually change the way we are going to approach agile working, I think, moving forward.
Do you know what, that's music to my ears, because also, I mean, we've done so much recently around the gender pay gap and the impact that that this is going to have on women in particular, because they still tend to be picking, even though men are picking up more, it tends to be mothers that are still doing more at home. And I think the pressure that people are feeling to work and just to perform at work and to perform as a parent, and it's just impossible. So it's really refreshing to hear you say that and know that that's the attitude that you've taken.
Maddie, when you see children popping up on the calls, not only do they make us smile, but it really kind of brings it home and it makes it real. And you realise that actually, whereas you know, you might consider myself to be fortunate, I don't have children, but I can sit here and talk to you and be relatively undisturbed. But actually, for some people where they've got their children running around, there's nothing they can do to get away from that. So you need to give them that space of flexibility. But like I said, in my experience, if you give that trust and that flexibility, normally we get repaid more than what we give out. So
Tom, thank you so much. I would like to come and work with you, but I don't know about everybody else. It sounds amazing. So thank you so much for giving up your time to give us kind of a window into Surrey County Council. Thank you all so much for watching at home, and watch this space. There's going to be lots more to come from Surrey in advance of the show. So thank you, and we'll speak to you soon.
See you later. Bye.